feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
Hi everyone, welcome. If you are new here, I'm so happy to have you. So my peers and subscribers, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to focus on the potentiality of a brand new virus emerging, or potentially a bacteria or a fungus, or something entirely new that we have never experienced before being unearthed and defrozen from the ice. And so we're going to talk about that today. Today is not, I don't want you guys to think that I'm trying to scare you. I know the title is a little bit misleading. However, I did mention it, which is why I used the wording. Here it is a warning, that's all. But this video is not intention, it's not to fearmonger you, not to scare you, just to bring light and awareness to the potentiality of something emerging within the ice. We're just going to talk about that as well. I did do a reading on this about 1 year ago. I'll put that video into the link in the description below in case you want to watch that video. I'll put it right up here right now. We have here, will this be our last pandemic? This was streamed 1 year ago on February 8th of 2021. If you wanted to go watch that, I'll put that video in the link below. And that kind of talks about, in a little overview of that video, I talked about a potential for a brand new pandemic and how I told you guys to keep your mask, but it's almost very certain that we're going to need it again. Now, that does not necessarily mean we're going to need it again, particularly for a virus. We may need it for a sandstorm that's going to sweep across the continental United States. And so that's a sandstorm, so it's just particles. But either way, the mask is going to protect you, at least in your breathing area. You just need something to protect your eyes. But anyway, let's jump into it. I will be taking some questions from the live chat. Everything will be time-stamped in the description below. I tried to keep this video as simple and as condensed as possible. Now, quickly before I do begin, I just want to say a quick announcement that I will be going live with Marie's Table and one of her other guests as well on her channel. So if you want to hop into community page, check the community page and it will take you to the link to that video tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central. So I hope to see you guys there. Let's jump into it. And I'm not going to waste your time. Hi, Nadulis. Hello, love. I knew how to say your name. I was just stuttering today. Hello, Sarah. What's up, love? All right, so let's begin. So this video is being live streamed on March 19, 2022 at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know today's a very nice day, so I understand why you guys are not live right now. I apologize for not being live recently. I have been very having massive headaches, but I am back now. So here's some quick disclaimers on your screen right now. This video is just for entertainment purposes only and for education purposes only as well. And here are some other disclaimers. If you want to read them, feel free. You just have to pause the video if you want to read them on your own time. Other than that, let's jump into the main part of today's video. Everything is timestamped in the description below. All right, so the reason why we're doing this video is particularly because a long time ago, about in 2020, when I first started my YouTube channel, I was reading on COVID. And the reason why this video had been, this is the second video I'm making on the specific topic, is when I was reading on COVID, the time frame that I was in that video when I was making it for the first time reading on COVID was incorrect. However, everything that was being said in that video is correct. It's just the time frame of when I thought it was going to happen happened 1 year later, or within the last 2 years. So it had happened. The time frame of when I said it was, oh, it's going to happen within the next 6 months. It's really not true. It happened actually later on, but it still happened regardless. And so anyway, besides the point, when I was reading on it, I gave a few possibilities of what could possibly happen after COVID, right? Will we be able to go back to normal? It was really a normal reading to kind of see how the endemic was going, right? And so I saw this picture. I did 3 different possibilities. And one of those possibilities kind of discussed that if we didn't do what we were told and we didn't do our part and didn't wear masks, at least for a few months, and, we would have been able to get rid of the virus. There was a possibility for that possible to happen, that we would have been back to normal back in 2020, but obviously here we are in 2022 and we're still in the midst of it. And so what I did see in the third outcome here, I saw an outcome where that by the time we start to get out of this potential the end of COVID pandemic, we can enter into a new one. And the reason why we can enter into a new one, I saw there was a lesson that needed to be learned here. A lot of people just want to get out of this and just leave. They just don't want to be a part of the pandemic anymore. They don't understand that the pandemic's here to help you spiritually, right? Think about it. Everybody you meet in some way have changed or have been altered because of the pandemic. I'm not talking about on an economic or financial level. I'm talking about on a spiritual level. And so, the reason why the pandemic is here is helping you. Some people are refusing to acknowledge those help. And what I see is I saw another pandemic that's going to come and try to get those people who are resisting that temporary change and try to bring them on board to the spirituality. And that's what I do see here. I do see there's a potential where it's not a bad thing. Yes, people will die. That obviously goes with anything. But I do see an outcome where people are supposed to be, becoming their true self. But a lot of them are resisting that because of trauma and unrelenting inability to heal themselves. And so that's what I kind of saw. What I saw was that there was a new virus, a dangerous one that gets 10 times worse than COVID. But because of the COVID mythology, where people are like in their mindset, like, oh, COVID's not as bad, we don't have to listen, you don't have to wear masks, type of thing, this brand new entity, this brand new virus is going to be 10 times more deadly, which means that those people who say those type of things will probably end up passing away, particularly because of those mindset that they have created inside their head, those protocols, so to speak. They will treat this brand new virus very similar to the way they treat COVID, except they will have to deal with the dire consequences of their own action. Now, I'm not saying to submit to the government. I'm not telling you that. What I am telling you is just do your part and do what's right for everybody, including yourself. Don't just be too selfish. That's all. So that's why we're doing today's video. This video is just for entertainment purposes only. It's not a 100% certain that the thing is going to rise from the glacier. However, it is a possibility. It's one of many. So you can rest assured that I'm not saying it's 100% certain. It's not, but it's one of many possibilities that we can enter into. So let's get on to today's reading. So again, everything will be timestamped in the description below. Hi BT, hi Doris. What's up, love? Okay, so the question I'm asking today is, will we experience another viral outbreak similar to the likes of COVID, the influenza, and the bubonic plague? Let's take a look. Hi Karen, what's up, love? Glad you caught me live too. Actually, I felt really pulled to the Egyptian tarot deck. I feel like it might have come from the Egyptian time. It might be a bug virus, if anything. It could be like known as the beetle virus. I have no idea, but let's take a look. So Spirit Angels tell me, will we experience another viral outbreak of any sort, like in terms of like illnesses, the likes of what we saw with COVID and influenza and bubonic plague? Excuse me, I didn't mean to stutter, guys. Okay, let's see. Okay, so these are kind of like active, like major arcana here, so we kind of need to get more information. So let's take a look. We're going to be using Earth Magic Tarot deck, Oracle deck, but I kind of use it just to kind of see what Nature's feeling, just to kind of, to play devil's advocate at this point. Okay. We have the Tsunami card here. It says Wake Up Call, but if it comes up again, then we know that's for sure certain. All right, so Spirit Angels, please tell me, will we experience another viral outbreak similar to COVID, influenza, and the bubonic plague? Okay, I'm going to take two more. All right, let's take a look. Let's see what Nature's feeling in the ancient time period of human civilization. Okay, so, all right, let's take a look. All right, so the first card that we have here on the left side here is we have Temperance. And all of you guys know Temperance is kind of all about bringing balance, the duality of life, right? Not only is it good, but also is bad, the yin and yang, right? And so the Temperance card in this aspect is a very Egyptian one, right? And if you look at the hieroglyphics here, actually, I should have got like a hieroglyphic thing. What we have here, we have the sun. We have the sun here, right? Now, a lot of you guys who are familiar with the birth charts and astrology, this is known as the sun. We also have here as well, we have Scorpio, right? The hidden, the dark side. But also Scorpions are also known to be good. They just have a very dark aura to them, right? I'm a Scorpio by myself. That's why I have dark humor. But here's what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing an owl, right? Intelligence here. I'm seeing water. I'm seeing bowl. and I'm seeing a snake. So potentially what this could all mean is that it might be a virus that might be infected in the water. It might be a water content. It might be transmitted through contaminants. It might be contaminated water, polluted water, potentially. I am seeing here as well, it could be something very similar to the bird flu, or something, it was an Asian version of it. Yeah, I must see an Asian version of it. Yeah. So as for the next card here on the right side here is we have the death card. Now there's no excuse me, I'm stuttering. It's not to be alarmed about, right? You're not to be alarmed about what is coming, right? What it just simply means, again, we talked about the temperance card, which is all about balance here. In that card, we have balance, we have justice, right? In the background, right? The two of the duality of life, right? The feather and the man. The feather and the man are the same weight, right? It doesn't make sense, right? But if you really take man out of the flesh, people out of the flesh, the soul is a weightless, just like a feather, right? And we have two people in the ground here, right? So this is kind of referring to Asian, like kind of giving me zombie vibes, a little bit something that was being reemerged back up, coming out from the ground and being reemerged again, right? Something that was hidden, something that was no longer here, being reemerged. And so what I am seeing that this is indeed an Asian thing, and it potentially is travel through water. So it polluted water. So it goes through very bad water, and it also is related potentially to somehow in some way to the bird flu and something with illnesses with the food supply when it comes to fish or seafood. Okay, that's what I'm seeing in terms of those cards. Now, as for the reverse cards here, the first card that came out was we have Rainbow Reverse. Right, this is a blessing in a way, but it's also not a blessing. It's just how you view it. If you want to view this potentiality of this new outcome in a blessing way, then you can. But a lot of people will not view it in that way, right? We have here full moon completion. It has completed its cycle. So if it was to come again, it has this very strong possibility to reemerge again, right? The moon is something about it's hidden. However, it completed its full cycle, which means that it can reemerge again and complete its next cycle. Right, we have here again, it comes from the ocean. Like I said before, it comes from the ocean. So ebb and flow. So it comes from the ocean. So again, it comes from water supply and pollution. So I would assume it more so comes from the ocean, not the lakes or fresh water. It might be more salt water related. We also have here communication, eagle. We have a bird here. We're talking about the bird flu. So there's some sort of connection here with water and bird. Okay, let me ask right away. Why are we getting a connection here? Why are we getting a connection between birds and the ocean when it comes to asking about a potentiality for a brand new virus or entity to be reemerged? Okay, this is what I heard. Okay, so you remember how I told you guys a long time ago that birds are the direct descendant of dinosaurs? Well, this says it here. It says here that, and it's what I heard in my right ear. I heard in my right ear from my guy, they told me that birds used to come from the ocean, and so before they took to the sky. So you know how science always said, oh no, they took it from terrestrial to the sky? Well, my guys are telling me here that no, birds actually originated from the ocean and they took flight, and that's how they became birds. And also along with dinosaurs, potentially dinosaurs went into the ocean and then they took flight into the air. So that's what I'm seeing here. If you see me like swish, it's just that my head is like really stiff. All right, so we have the Ace of Wands here reversed, right? Air. So it's kind of telling me here that in some way or some form, like they kind of took flight after being in the water. So in some way, we may discover an Asian virus that may be hidden in the ocean that will affect birds because they are descendants of those animals. I don't even know what they are. Fish? I have no idea. Right, but this is kind of like just telling me that they took flight. They right after they took flight into the sky. So that's what I saw here. Kind of interesting. Not too complicated. Not too heavy dense and stuff like that. It's just light. Again, this is just for entertainment purposes only. I'm not saying this is going to happen. What we do on the channel is exploring the what if, right? What would have happened if something was to be released from the ocean? I'm not saying it's 100% certain, so don't be fearful. I like to ask questions. I like to contemplate on certain things. What if this happened? What if this happens? Here's the next question. With the rapid change in global climate temperature over the past 200 years, are we currently on pace to accidentally release a frozen virus? Now, if you're not familiar, my guys have told me the way I do my YouTube videos is everything is connected in some way to the other videos. So, for example, every video in a chronological order is connected to one another. I don't know why, but there is a connection here. Like, for example, I talked about the Titanic and what's going to happen to Titanic 2. If you don't know, a billionaire remade the Titanic and it's set to sail this year, but I said in the card that it's not going to set sail until 2024. What I do see is an iceberg breaking into the ocean. Very similar way to the movie was. If you're not familiar with the 2010 movie, The Titanic 2, go watch it. It's free. It basically explained how an iceberg breaks into the ocean, causes a tsunami, and it crashes into the Titanic. You know how I talked about, I've been saying on my channel for a long time, I keep seeing East Coast tsunami, and it's going to cause either by an iceberg or a meteor. You see how everything's starting to relate to one another? Potentially in those icebergs could be the frozen virus. So that's how everything connected, if that makes any sense. All right, so let's take a look. Spirit will tell me, with the rapid change in global temperatures over the past 200 years, are we currently on pace to accidentally release a frozen virus? Okay, hold on. Are we currently on track to accidentally release a frozen virus into our atmosphere, into our environment? Yes. Yes, we are. This is the card that comes up. Autumn. It's a release. It's harvest season. Something brand new comes out, right? The birth. You can actually go and grab it. So if anything, we remember how we said we talked about October, the Scorpio sign? Potentially autumn equinox is around October. So potentially this thing could release in a month of October. Not saying month of this year, but if it was to ever happen, we would ever go down this possibility route, it will be released around the autumn time period, potentially late August, is what I'm seeing. So yes, it will be released. It does feel like we have a certain yes for that. Now, if you're not familiar why climate change and global warming is concerning and why you should care about it, well, let me just give you one piece of advice. During the time of the dinosaurs, there were drastic changes that were occurring, but they occurred over centuries, right? Centuries or 100 years. They even occurred over thousands of years. For us as humans, because of all our influence and negative things that we do to the environment, we spread up that process without normally 1 century of changes, environmental changes would occur under 100 years, will now occur under 1 year in our time period. If everything that would change under 1,000 years will occur under 100 years. So we are speeding up the process of time, so much so that climate change and global warming is a lot more concerning, which is why you're starting to see a lot more natural disasters occurring than never before. And the thing is, and you know, a lot of you guys may not know, that humans are very reliant on Earth. Without Earth being the way that we are right now, we may not exist. So I would advise you, please, just care about your environment. Do the right thing. Just care about it. That's all I ask you to do. Just educate yourself. Educate yourself, please. Right? It's not fake. It's just because it's happening. You have a little bit of snow, right? Remember, Texas has snow in Texas. Texas does not have snow. It has snow, right? So that if that's not a wake up call, I don't know what is. Right? All right. So is it possible that there could be more than one bacteria, virus, or fungus that could be released? Would it be dead or alive? Oops, what just happened? I just accidentally deleted something. Okay. Actually, hello, love. Whatever Mother Nature throws at humanity, the wiser will adapt and navigate. That's how natural selection works. From what we've seen, a better world will lay beyond. Bring it. Good approach. Good approach to that. The melting glacier could be releasing newer ancient viruses into the ocean and into the air. Yep. Yep, exactly right. I like to go into this blind and kind of just see what the guys say. So it seemed to be on par with what everybody's saying in terms of like scientists and everybody, including you guys. All right, so Spirit Angels, tell me, is it possible that there could be more than one bacteria, virus, or fungus that could be released? Will it be dead or alive? Yes, there will be many. There will be many here, right? We have multiple different ones. We have the head. We have Napoleon. We have the snake. We have the dragon. We have the plant. We have particles, and then we have ice. Wait, no, that's not ice. That's a castle. But the thing is here that these are different forms, the different species, different types of things that are hitting in snow or in glaciers, right? If you're not familiar with cryogenetically, I don't know what it is, but it's basically where they take something and they freeze it at high temperature that restricts the blood flow and it keeps someone long alive for years to come, even decades or centuries. And potentially the goal is to release that person into a brand new world where they have been frozen for centuries and just become back to life. So the same thing, the same idea applies here. The difference is the animal that's been frozen in permafrost don't survive is particularly because they died before they were frozen. Where viruses, bacteria, and fungus can survive under extreme temperatures, which is why this potentially could be an environmental disaster that's waiting to happen. But as of right now, it does say here that there is more than one. So we can have a bacteria, we can have fungus, we can have virus, we can have many of them. Right? The thing is, now we have to ask is, will it be dead or alive? Let's take a look. Will it be dead or alive? Okay, here's what I see here. I see some are going to be dead, some are going to be alive. But it almost feels like in some way or some form that some of these, I'm going to call them entities. So that will include the fungus, the virus, and the bacteria. I see that these entities are fighting each other. So potentially these are almost like cures in a way. So if you really want to cure, you have to get something else. So let's say you had the fungus, right? You might want to cure with a bacteria infection. If you have the bacteria infection, you're going to want to cure with the virus. Potentially they are cured within themselves. So they're fighting each other. So potentially, you could put them in a lab department in one little petri dish, and all of them will be fighting one another. Something that we have never seen before when it comes to viruses. We also have here the magician. I have a feeling that a lot of these viruses, bacteria, and fungus will come to life in a laboratory. So potentially they could be dead, be shipped to a laboratory, and then brought back to life for scientific purposes. And that could be, again, dangerous, right? Sometimes scientists don't understand that playing God is not always the best way to play God, right? Sometimes it just means if something is dead, it's better off to leave it dead instead of bringing it back to life. And that's what I'm seeing here. I am seeing here that these viruses are known to fight each other and they're cures within themselves, whereas the magician card is telling me that the laboratory experiments, when it comes to sciences, are going to try to bring them back to life for scientific purposes, but somehow, in some way, it's going to happen the same way COVID was, where I said that when I read on COVID, it was a laboratory experiment by the Americans, and that they were accidentally released, and they were testing to see how it affects people in the prison system. Nobody really cares about the people in the prison, I hate to say, but that's what I got in the cards. And so it accidentally released it to the public, which is why all the governments around the world freaked out about it, because they didn't expect it to be released publicly. So that's what I'm seeing here. In some way, they're going to kind of do the same thing, like as if they didn't learn the first time. They're going to kind of do the same thing. So it's really brought back to life in a lab. Okay, could it be possible that it could come back to life in a science lab? Okay, perfect. So, yes, we answered the first question. Perhaps through cloning, melting, or whatever method's being used. Let's take a look. We're going to look at the methods here. Okay. Spiel Sanders told me, would this potentially go through the process of melting, cloning, or whatever method's being used? Spiel Sanders, what method would they be used for this? What method would be used for this? How did he bring this thing back to life? Okay, there's too many, so I'm going to take the first two. They told me to take three. We'll take three and that's it. How did he bring this thing back to life? Actually, let me get the energy card. Because all living things are energy, right? At least that's what we know. Okay, Spirit Angels, tell me, how do they bring back these viruses? Do they just come back because they've been melted and they're back to normal temperature? Or potentially because they're cloning a dead virus and bringing them back to life so we can study it? How do they do this? Okay, let's take a look. All right. Okay, so you know how I said earlier in the video I talked about justice? Well, in card here we have the justice card, right? We're talking about animals here, mammals, birds, right? Beetles. What this is kind of referring to me is it's kind of talking about this time period in which humans are coexisting and cohabiting with mammals, the same species of humans, right? But what I am seeing here that is going to start to change as we start to make hybrids. And so that these hybrids are going to become the new normal. So these animals, these mammals are no longer going to be mammals anymore. They're going to be mutated. And I am seeing that, those Greek mythology where they had half human, half horse. I'm seeing that occurring. I am seeing that they're going to start to create the process. This is going to be the first step in the evolution of human race by combining genomes and creating brand new species of humans. So I do see here that there's going to be a potentiality where we're going to experience that with this brand new emergence of this brand new Asian virus or whatever this is that it's going to bring forth brand new economical and educational changes to playing God in the laboratory experiments, where they're going to start to play it at such a fast rate that we're going to start having brand new things come about that have never existed before. And if they did exist, they probably existed during the time of the Greeks. And I'll talk more about why the Greeks had those specific things and why they actually existed in the past. So I am seeing that here as well, that this is kind of telling me that we're going to create brand new species of human for the sole purpose of playing God. Right, by combining different genomes to try to figure out how we can advance our evolutionary history and drag it further so that we can potentially use it to fight climate change. There's a possibility for the motive here, but the motive again is very strongly being tied to the fact that they're trying to use climate change as an excuse to play God. Right? And then we have here on the right side of here is we have the lovers. So what is the reason why I talked about that before is that it's kind of telling me here that these viruses that are going to be reemerged is going to unlock the potential for our deep understanding of how things can be cloned back. So really, a virus is going to be the first step in that process, if that makes sense. We have here on the right side here is we have the lovers card. And the lovers card is kind of referring here that there's going to be a potential where both men and women will no longer share different genitals. There's going to be a new species of human that's going to have both genitalia, which would mean that they will be able to reproduce on their own, or they're able to be with somebody regardless of their gender because they're genderless, right? They have two of both genitalia, and I'm seeing that here for the human species, that we're going to start to realize the humans were not just dying to have one genitalia, but they were dying to actually have two. Right, according to science, on a medical perspective, they see this as a medical ailment, but really, what the cards are telling me here that it's not. Right, so I don't know why I think it's coming through the process of cloning. Potentially, the word cloning already is kind of bringing these other things into existence when I'm talking about viruses. So now we're asking is how do they do this? How do they do the process here, right? We have the free energy card. We have here hostility, right? Hostile. They're trying to make this virus less hostile by making it more tactile, right? And in the middle card here, we have the caring connection. And the caring connection is really referring to the idea that they're trying to use this virus or whatever this entity is, they're trying to connect the piece and history of where it originated from. Try to understand it because it's going to change our evolution past and allow us to understand how history is a lot older than it really is and how we're all connected in one way to another. Like this would be an addition to our own ancestors, something that we never seen before. So I see that this new entity being something we have never seen, like we have never knew existed. As for the lovers card underneath, we have the goddess of the moon. the moon is coming to a close, right? And the 5 and the 2, if you add up the 5 and the 2, that's a 7. 7 is a very spiritual number, and the card is reversed. What it's telling me that is that it's going to be released soon. I feel like if anything, if it was to occur, it's going to be released. And it's going to become a brand new thing that becomes spiritual. It's going to be a spiritual thing, right? When I told you guys early in the video how I kept seeing how the pandemic was supposed to help us on a spiritual level become more spiritual, this is going to help us take that next step. Now, I'm not saying that they should be playing God or anything like that, but it is saying here that we're supposed to find ourselves, and potentially this is going to break down the system that we're currently in, and it's going to allow a brand new one to be formed, a better one that works for all of us, right? Let me move this card here. Okay, let's see. If something was to be released, is this something that we are familiar with? We just answered the question? No. The answer is no. Or will it be something we never encountered before? Yes. So we just answered the question our own. Is it possible that if it's too far gone, that we will be okay? If so, what methods? So basically what I'm asking here is kind of I had a stroke reading this. Is it possible that if it's too far gone, oh, okay, I know what that means. All right, so basically, it's a little wordy. What I meant was, is it possible that when this thing is unearthed, is it possible that it's dead and it just can't hurt us because it's dead and it's too long of a time period from when it existed to when it's been frozen? Okay, to the time that it's been unearthed? That's the question that we're asking here. Is it possible that it's just dead? And so when we read on it earlier, I saw some alive ones that come to life, and some of them are just completely dead. And then they potentially could clone them back into existence. So one of those methods would be cloning, bringing back to life, bringing something that's extinct back. That's what I see here. Last but not the least, will we be able to fight against it? Yes, we just talked about the preventive process, one of the ways to prevent against it. It's just simple. It's just that if you get the bacteria infection, all you have to do is get either the virus one or the fungus. They will fight it. They're all simultaneously cures within themselves. So if you want to cure something, you have to get another thing, and that's how you kind of do it. In a way, we're going to find out that shooting the vaccine. So just say you have this brand new virus, you just get the bacterium vaccine, and that will cure you. Exact opposite than what we currently do now, where you just get the vaccine of the same virus that you're trying to prevent, where this new one, the cure is literally the opposite virus or the opposite disease. So that is kind of interesting. So that's the takeaway for today's video, that there's a potential. The takeaway for the main video here is just that there's a potential for a pandemic to occur or something to be unearthed from the glaciers. However, there is a cure within all of them, and that we can indeed fight it. However, it will be something that we have never seen before. Will it be dangerous? I do not know, but it's interesting nonetheless. So, guys, I hope you have a very beautiful day. I love you. Thank you all for coming and attending. If you have not already, I will be going live tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Marie's Table. So go check out her channel. We'll be live tomorrow to talk and discuss about her dream with Nancy Pelosi. Other than that, guys, I love you. Have a very beautiful night. Thank you for coming, and I'll see you soon. Bye.